Problem number 2 on the 2017 free response is another calculator question, so you should have your calculators ready and use them everywhere you can. Number 2, when a certain grocery store opens, it has 50 pounds of bananas on a display table. So, the first thing we notice already is that we have an initial condition of 50 pounds of bananas on the table. Customers remove bananas from the display at a rate. So we have a remove rate, and this function right here is our remove rate. So that is our off rate. Then F of t is measured in pounds per hour. T is the number of hours after the store opened. After the store has been open for 3 hours. So notice that whatever's happening with this next piece happens 3 hours after the store opens. Store employees add bananas, so this is the on rate. So we have an on rate and an off rate at a rate modeled by G of t. So this is the rate at which they're putting bananas on, and this is the rate at which they're taking bananas off the table. So it's important to note which rate is which. G of t is measured in pounds per hour, and t is the number of hours after the store opened. Now remember, they didn't start putting bananas out until 3 hours after the store opens, so that's probably going to impact a question or two below. All right, letter A. How many pounds? So we know that we're given a rate and we're doing a how many, and we want to know how many bananas are removed from the display during the first 2 hours. So we're only considering, since they're removed, we're only considering our off rate. So that's pretty easy. In letter A, I'm going to write my integral from 0 to 2. This is 0 to 2. This is my removal rate. And then on my calculator, I've already put the function for the removal rate into y1 and the putting on rate in y number 2. And so I'm just going to have the calculator for A do math number 9. And remember, you follow how your calculator operates. This is an older model calculator. My removal rate is in y1. So some of you have shortcuts. Make sure you are familiar with shortcuts if you have them. If not, you just do it this way. It's perfectly fine. In terms of x, from 0 to 2, and I get the 20.051 pounds. So remember, we were accumulating bananas, so now they're going to be in pounds. All right, letter B. Find f prime of 7. That's pretty direct. That's telling you exactly what to do. But then we have to use correct units to explain the meaning of f prime. So let's think about that. F is already measured in, let's go back up here. F is already measured in pounds per hour. So f prime is pounds per hour squared. F prime is going to modify f. It's going to tell us if the rate at which bananas are removed from the table is increasing or decreasing. A rate modifies its preceding function. All right, so let's go down to letter B, and let's pull out my calculator. So remember, I'm letting the calculator do its job. So now I'm going to tell the calculator I need to find the derivative, math 8, of the removal rate, which for my is in y1. So vars, y vars. Use your shortcuts if you have them. In terms of x, at, we wanted 7. And we get the negative 8.119, which rounds off to, if you're rounding, negative 8.120 pounds per hour. That should be squared. I have it in the next part of the problem, but I'm just noticing a mistake there. So that should be a square. And then my interpretation. At 7 hours, the rate at which bananas is being removed from the table is decreasing at a rate of 8.120 pounds per hour squared. So this time I did have my proper units on that. So that's the interpretation. Let's go back and look at letter C. For letter C, is the number of pounds of bananas on the display case table increasing or decreasing? So we're trying to describe the number of pounds, so we want to know the number of pounds rate is positive or negative. Well, the number of pounds is going to be affected by the on minus the off. So now we have to get that total rate by taking the on rate minus the off rate and determining whether that value is going to be positive or negative at t equal to 5. So in part C, I tell the reader what I'm going to do. I'm going to find g prime, not prime, g of 5 minus f of 5. I see that that number is negative. And then I can say the number of pounds of bananas is decreasing because the rate, g of 5 minus f of 5, total rate, is less than 0. Now, you can make that happen however you want to on your calculator. I did in Y3 go ahead and put Y2 minus Y1, but you don't really have to. You can just do Y2. Give me a second here. My calculator takes a little bit longer. At 5. Not derivative, because these are already rates. Minus bars, 5 bars, function y1 at 5 to be negative 2.263. And so that's how I got my number. And then lastly, let's go back up to letter D. Letter D. How many? So we know that we're going to be accumulating. Pounds of bananas are on the display case at t equal to 8. Now remember, back in the prompt, they told us before the store opened at time 0, there were already 50 pounds of bananas on the table. And then people came in the store. I will show you, let me erase that. People came into the store and they started removing bananas, so we're going to have to subtract the bananas that they removed, and then the people in the store started adding bananas. So that's the framework for the integral that we're going to write. So if you come down here to part D with me, 50 pounds of bananas were sitting on the table. This is the, I decided to put the adding bananas. They didn't start putting bananas until 3 hours after the store opened. So this is my on rate. And then minus the people were buying bananas starting when the store opened at 0 hours of f of t, which is 23.347 pounds. And that number would be totally gotten off of your calculator. Let's look at the scoring rubric. So in letter A, you get 1 point for writing your integral, and you get 1 point for reporting the answer. Very easy. I've had a question come in, do you have to write a sentence to get the answer point? You do not. In letter B, 1 point for reporting the correct value. And notice you can either round or truncate. Both of these would be acceptable, but nothing else. And then 1 point for correctly interpreting the meaning. Now they said pounds per hour, but that's pounds per hour squared, so that's perfectly fine. In letter C, you get 1 point for doing something with f of 5 has to be seen, something with g of 5 has to be seen. In other words, how are you getting your number? Show us. And then the reason and the answer. So you get that number, and then you have to tell me what it means, that the pounds of bananas on the table is decreasing because the overall rate is negative. And then lastly, for D, you get 2 points for your integrals, meaning that you have one integral that starts at 3 for the on rate, one integral that starts at 0 for the off rate. These could be reversed as long as you are subtracting the off and adding the on. And then if you forgot the initial condition, it's going to come off the answer point because you're just not going to have the correct answer. So you can still get those 2 points. All right, tune back in for question number 3.